Good evening. This is Tiffany Joyner, and tonight's Primetime Power Show segment will be an interview with Miss Nadean Barton, author and entrepreneur. How are you doing tonight, Nadine?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me, Tiffany and Derek.
Yes, you're most welcome. So I just want to start out. I see that you're born in Jamaica, but you grew up in Bronx, New York. And I just want to say I'm from Brooklyn, the other borough in New York. And
Right.
so I'm excited when I saw that you were that you grew up in the Bronx. Can you just tell me a little bit about that experience of growing up in the Bronx? Was it a positive experience? I know it's very different from Jamaica. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yes, absolutely. The Boogie Down Bronx. Like, who could forget about that, right?
Yeah.
So I moved to the Bronx from Jamaica at the age of 13, going on 14, around 1990. It was hot. It was a different experience. I mean, I know coming from Jamaica, it was hot too, but, coming to New York, seeing those big buildings, it was a different experience for me. And, I was excited. I was very excited to get that experience. So I have no regrets. And I did my high school years in New York. I ran track with James Monroe High School for 4 years.
Yes.
Right. I was on a couple different club track teams, and I ran in pen relays, and I did a lot of things before I decided to join the Navy back in 1995.
Wonderful. And that's kind of a nice segue into the next part of our interview tonight. I was going to go into that. So first and foremost, I want to thank you again for your service and your commitment to our military. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah, thanks for your support.
Yes. I see that you recently retired in July 2021 after 15 years of service. That's a lot.
No, correction, 25 years.
Oh, my, 25. My.
Yes.
That's more than half your life. That's wonderful. Was there any experience or individual in the military that inspired you to move to building your own businesses? Was there something that happened in the military that sparked you to say, you know what, when I'm done with this, I want to progress into, creating my own business?
Well, actually, it's funny you say that because it's going towards the last term in my military career where the business occurred. And actually, the business occurred an accident back in 2019. And a lot of people knew my story. I had a miscarriage where my boyfriend at the time left me bleeding. And I'm going to say her name, Ciandra Dilly. She inspired me to start writing during my miscarriage. I stayed with her in her home in Bonnier, Georgia, before she moved. So she said, just start writing. You don't have to form a proper paragraph. Just start writing your notes. And whenever you finish, you could form it. And we could, decide if you want to turn it into a book. So in the midst of that, I started crying. And, while I was crying, I said, can a girl catch a break? And that's how my first book came to fruition, Can a Girl Catch a Break? And, a few months from that, the business occurred. So I had no business intention back in the military. I didn't know how to, other than college classes and writing a paper, I had no idea about, that business mindset. I mean, I thought about it, but I never, said, okay, I'm going to start this business. It just all happened by accident.
Wow. So the military had no bearing on that. It was pretty much from a life experience, something that unfortunately sort of was traumatizing for you, where you developed, your writing skills, and then you decided you wanted to write a book. And then from there, other things came from that. Is that what you're saying?
Right. Absolutely. In that moment, I allowed my pain to position my purpose.
I like that. Was there anything, though, in the Navy that any skill sets that you developed that equipped you to become a writer or to build, even though it wasn't the influence or the motivation behind your businesses, were there any skill sets that you learned in the Navy that really equipped you to be a stronger writer, a stronger businesswoman?
Right, absolutely. So I was a DLCPO, I was a divisional leading chief petty officer where I ran 4 different divisions here in Atlanta, Georgia, and in Seattle. I ran 4 different divisions where I had about the same amount of people, about 20 people under me. And, we always have to yearly, monthly, we have to write evaluations on the personnel. So that helped me with my writing skills as well.
Okay, so writing evaluations, is that what you're saying, for other people?
Yes, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
It's definitely a different style of writing, obviously.
Right.
But it just helped you with developing your writing. Okay, I got you. Great. Was it Was it difficult to finally make that transition from being in the military for so long to being a civilian? Was that difficult, that transition?
You know what? After so many years being in the military and coming back to civilian sector, anybody transitioning after so many years, because, joining the Navy in your teen years, that's going to be so intimidating because things have changed over the time being. So, we have different programs, the transition assistant program that we have right now and hiring our heroes. That program really helped me to transition because once I started my transition, they helped me to get into a program with Microsoft where I did a 3-month internship with Microsoft, and that helped me with the transition. So the program is hiring our heroes, and I will definitely pass on that to any transitioning veterans that's coming out because, as I said before, coming out is very intimidating because you have not done an interview once when you were younger. So coming in, you're like, okay, now I'm going to do an interview as this adult going into corporate world. It's a bit different. And, you have to do your research. You have to think about different, resume writing skills and stuff like that. And thank God for the military for helping us with that transition.
Wow. Microsoft, that's a major company. What was it like working for them?
It was great. It was a great experience. I was with them, I was a corporate recruiter because, before I retired, I was in recruiting with the Navy for 15 years. So that actually helped me coming into corporate world. I know the lingo may be different with corporate, but recruiting is recruiting. You know what I mean?
Right.
So once I finished with that transition, now I'm still a corporate recruiter, but with a different company. I'm with Manpower right now and also on a contract with FIS. So I'm still doing recruiting. It's in my blood.
Right. Wonderful. Now, let me ask you this, working back with recruiting. So how is working as a recruiter, how has that sort of transferred into your life as an entrepreneur? Do you recruit people to work with your businesses? Like, have you taken any skill sets from being, in recruiting to developing your businesses or being an entrepreneur?
Well, the Navy had helped me a lot with, customer service, dealing with people, talking to parents during recruiting. So I utilize the same skill set with my business. So, learning how to deal with customers, you just have to maintain, like they're saying in the military, you have to maintain your military beer and dealing with customers and being an entrepreneurship, you still have to have a mindset like your customers are going to be first, they're not working for you, you're working for them, and you want your customers to have the greatest experience.
Right, of course. And I'm sure it's not always easy, especially working at that level corporate.
Mm-hmm.
What were some of the challenges or, in your experience in working with individuals at that level?
Are you speaking about the Navy life?
No, as a corporate recruiter, like what are some of the challenges of working on a corporate level? What are some of the challenges with that? Just recruiting on a corporate level. As everyone receives you, you're an African American woman. They see you walking into a corporate recruiting sort of you're the recruiter, and they look at you like, were there any exceptions? Did you experience any challenging experiences with people when they saw you?
No, not necessarily. The only challenges that I could say that I have had with corporate is that the lingo is different with corporate recruiting, in the Navy, we have different languages that we use, different ATS system, applicant tracking system. So just transitioning from the Navy to corporate life, that's just the only downfall. Like I said before, recruiting is recruiting. So that's never going to change. But knowing the different languages, and now you have to be dealing with, like for me right now, I'm dealing with 30 plus different hiring managers trying to, fulfill a role for them. I have to deal with negotiation. I've never had to deal with that in the military. So in some aspects you did, but, you have to, present an offer and, it's on a different realm than active duty Navy.
Okay. And was there talking of those different languages and the challenges within that? Did you have like a mentor or somebody to help or guide you through that? Or did you have to were you just kind of thrown to the wolves and you had to kind of learn it all on your own?
Right. Absolutely. We do have onboarding where we get like about 2 weeks training and, of course, being new to corporate recruiting. And I'm so grateful for the team that we have right now with FIS. Anytime I have a question or pose a question, even now, I might not know everything that they are dealing with in their ATS system. I could always ping one of the coworkers and they'll, stop what they're doing to help me. So I've never experienced anything negative. It's just like learning a new different program. Like like a rookie. You just have to be humble and, knowing that, hey, I'm the new person, even though I've had all these years of experiences. You just have to go in there like you're the rookie and just take things as it is.
Right. And how was that? I mean, you were in the military for so long, and now you're the low guy on the totem pole from being somebody who in a position of maybe notoriety in the Navy. Now you're the low man on the totem pole. How did that feel?
Well, I went in with the mindset that, going into corporate recruiting, things are going to be different. Right now, I am a senior recruiter, but I know that going in, I still you just have to be vulnerable, and you can't be scared to asking people for help. You have to, put all your ego to the side and say, hey, I'm new here. I have to learn this. Let me be humble and, ask the proper questions. And I know that a lot of people, they're scared to reach out to people and ask for help. But, in this day and age, you have to, put all that ego to the side and say, hey, if you want to be successful, you have to put all that to the side and say, let me go and ask somebody for help.
Right. And was that something that the Navy sort of instilled in you, or was that a trait that you always had?
Right, absolutely. Yeah, the Navy had taught me a lot. And coming up in the military, if you're working on an airplane, you can't just like leave things hanging, because these are people's life you're talking about, so you have to make sure that whatever you are doing, you have to be vulnerable. You have to have the sense of urgency. And if something is wrong, you can't just hide it and keep it to yourself. You have to make sure that the proper channel know, and you have to go out there and let them know, hey, I need help with this. I mean, I know a lot of people, they're thinking that, hey, I'm the big man here on post. I need to, show them that I know what I'm doing. But if you're not 100% right in the mind and think that, you're showing them the right skill set, then you have to go out and say, hey, supervisor, hey, coworker, can I get some help on this project that I'm working on? Because if you don't, those are people's lives that you're dealing with.
Yes. Yes. And working with education, I see that so much. I mean, even with students, it's hard for them to ask for help. They feel like, well, if I ask for help, it shows that I don't know anything. And it's hard for them to, sort of humble themselves and come and ask, questions because, of what people will perceive them as. So I definitely understand, that stance from where people are coming from, very much so.
Right. Or especially in the Black community, people are thinking, people think that I'm weak or I'm a punk. No, you can't have that. You have to get away from that mindset.
Yeah, and it's hard because a lot of it's culture based. And when it's culture based, community based, it's hard to sort of, shed that and try to think beyond that and move beyond that. Yes, I get it. It's a challenging space to be in, very much so.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take a short break, Nadine. But when we come back on the Primetime Power Show, we're going to talk some more with Nadine and talk about the other hats that she wears as an entrepreneur.
And we'll be right back on the Primetime Power Show right here live on Primetime Power Radio.
Okay, good evening. We're back again with Nadean Barton. So Nadine, if you can tell me a bit about the Think Pink project. As I was perusing your website, it jumped out at me. Also, there's a conference coming up in March. Can you tell us a little bit about the project and this conference that's coming up?
Well, actually, yes. I'm grateful to be on this platform with the Think Pink project. Basically, Antonio Crawford, he took 10 entrepreneurs, women, and their success stories from women who launched businesses and changed lives. So each of us wrote a different chapter on what we've been working on, what we've been doing, and my chapter is chapter 1 in the Think Pink project called, the name of it is Don't Let Your Setback Cause You to Sit Back. So, he's been doing great with that. If anybody needs information on that project, they could join the Think Pink project on, or the group rather, on Facebook at Pink Business Network, the Pink Business Network on Facebook. We do have a page and a group. So anybody need more information on that, they could always join in. We're always looking to empower other women into, their small businesses or whatever they have working on right now.
Wow, that's amazing. And you said, and I also mentioned there's a conference coming up in March 2022 or a few months from now. Can you tell us a little bit about that conference? What it is? It again, I guess it's a collection of these women coming together in one forum to talk about their success as entrepreneurs?
Yes, absolutely. And that's still in the work. So I don't have enough detail to speak on that. But Antonio, he's still working on that project.
Wonderful. Great, great. So talking about entrepreneurship, I want to delve a little bit more into your boutique and your body. Let's look a little bit look into the boutique. Have you always been interested in fashion? How did you stumble upon this boutique and the clothing line? I was perusing again your website and saw, the page with clothing, and it was beautiful. But I just wanted to know how you came upon that.
Thank you. And I've always been into fashion, makeup, and wearing heels and perfume. There's not a day that I go out without wearing my perfume and my makeup. So growing up, I always wear my stepmother's perfume going to high school and all that stuff. So just perusing into going out with my cousins and stuff in New York, just getting into the highest fashion. And the business occurred actually by accident. Like I said before in the first segment, Can a Girl Catch a Break happened with my miscarriage. So in the midst of that, my friend and I, Ciandra Dilly, she's the one who inspired me to start all that. She also has a website called Inspire for Purpose. So if anybody needs some inspiration, talk to her. But in the midst of that, I wanted to make some T-shirts called Can a Girl Get a Break? Because, everybody needs a break. And it's not just girls. Men need a break too, right? So in the midst of that, we were talking about making T-shirts. Right. We were talking about making T-shirts. And then in the midst of that, the store occurred. So I'm like, I know that the name is kind of long, Can a Girl Catch a Break Chic Boutique, but I didn't want to take that away from the book because it all aligned into each other. So I just kept that, and that's how the store occurred.
Wonderful. And then I heard what you were just talking about, when you were younger, you put on the perfumes and the things that your mother and aunts and various women in your life, things that they had, things that you want to dress yourself up with. Did the body butters come through that somehow? Like you wanted to delve into maybe like lotions or, like I said, body butters? Like how did it come about around the same time as the boutique idea, or was it totally separate?
No, it was totally separate. That happened. The body butters actually happened last year. A coworker of mine, I was still in the Navy getting ready to transition, and a coworker of mine, Big Mo, his name is James, he's the one who said, I have a homeboy, he's doing lotions and, he have all these scents and he's doing great with it. So I started thinking about it. I'm like, interesting. So I tried to do that, but then I discovered with my researches, the body butters, and I decided that, I wanted to just go with the body butters. I've did a lot of different versions of it, tested it, had coworkers tested it, and and I perfected it and have been really successful with it since.
Wonderful. Yeah, I was looking at the different scents and everything that were on your site. I said, wow, this is pretty extensive here. It's great. Great. I love it.
Yes, my number one seller right now is the ginger and the badass. I mean, I'm not sure if I could say that word on the radio.
Too late.
But I'm sorry, those are the two favorites right now. I have strawberry mango, and I have a slew of different scents that people like, And it's very moisturizing. I've had people who said that it also helped with eczema, and I had no idea what ingredients that I used to help with that, but they said that it's been helping with their eczemas.
Now, are the body butters primarily for women? I mean, the scents that you said, strawberry and mango.
No. I know. Oh, no. I have scents for men, too. I have a few scents for men. Intensity for him and, some other scents that I do carry for men as well. I said, my brother, he told me, he said, what about the men? The men need a break, too. So I listened to my brother, and actually he's up there, too. He's actually living in Delaware, close to Philly. So he said, what about the men? And I said, okay, bro, I'm going to get some scents for the men. How about that?
Yeah, give them the hookup, too. They, like you said, they need a break. Need a break too. I get it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So going back to the Think Pink project, you said you're a co-author. I want to transition a little bit, speaking about being a co-author, to your life as a writer.
Mm-hmm.
I saw on your site you have several books to your name. Can a Girl Catch a Break? Obviously, I saw another one, and correct me if I'm wrong on this. It was called "It Was Not You." It was the Phoenix in You, the Rebirth.
The Rebirth. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. That's my third book. The second one is The Love She Never Had. So the third book is basically all the drama and the trauma I've had in my life. Everything coming into the book. So I said, I've let my pain position my purpose, and it's time to get away from all the negativity, just thinking about working on myself, and to just have a rebirth, and I put that all in my book.
And let me ask you about that, because we talked earlier about your writing and how it came from a place of pain, and you're writing from experiences. Is that hard as a writer to make yourself vulnerable, to put that out there and know that people that may read this and they'll know maybe some things about you that they didn't know before? How does that scare you, that, oh my goodness, what are they going to think of me? Do these things run through your mind when you put yourself out there like that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm glad you asked that question, because that was one of the hardest things that I've ever had to do, because, I've had people who reach out to me, people that knew me for a long time, back in Japan, back in 1990, the 90s, and they said, oh my God, I never knew that you went through that stuff. I never knew you had so much trauma in your life. And that's the thing with people. You have to get to know somebody, So, yes, every time I read my book or, write something about it, it brings back tears, but I'm stronger now and it helped me grow. So once you start writing, and the thing is that I've said too, and I put it in a post, I think on my Facebook yesterday on something, I don't remember. And once you stop thinking about, what other people are thinking about you, then you will start writing. Once you get that part out of your head, stop thinking about what people think about you, you will start writing, you will start telling your story, and you will stop being scared, because that's the time you're going to be vulnerable, and that's the time you want to share your story with the world. And all my pain and my trauma that I've endured in the military, and, just everything was set back in the back of my mind. But once I started writing and pouring out and just remembering the things that had occurred with my dad growing up, and, the trauma that I've endured with them in the military, people lying on me and people try to get me fired and all those negative things, they just came into play, and I just put them in my book. And at that time, I didn't care what people had to say. They could either love me or they could either hate me. I had no care in the world.
Wow, that's great advice to give people, especially for people like myself. I mean, I don't write nonfiction. I've only, delved into children's books, but for somebody that's maybe thinking about that, knowing that, taking the stance of, this can be healing to somebody else. And I'm sure that's something, it's healing to other people that may have experienced similar walk. Yes, I love that idea. And just putting yourself out there, and, just not moving beyond what other people think. It's for your healing, and obviously maybe for someone else's.
Absolutely. You have to let your pain position your purpose. And that's what I did. Everything that I've endured, I put it all in my books. In all 3 books, I put it in my book. And right now I don't have no care in the world what people want to say about me. I don't care. So I had to reach that point in my life where I said, hey, it's already out there. You can't take it back,
That's right. That's right. This has just been wonderful, Nadean. I'm talking with you, getting to know more about you. So what I want to ask you now is, where can our listeners find out more about you? Where can we find you in the World Wide Web? Where can we find you?
Absolutely. To make things easier, I have all my links on one website called Linktree. So it's https://linktree.ee/NJB1202 at just NJB1202. So if they go to Linktree and put my initials, NJB1202, they will find all my links to my website, to my books, to my body butters, all on one website. Because, it's going to be different, just giving everybody different links to my Instagram. All that information is on Linktree.
Yes, and it was wonderful. So because when I went there, I just clicked on the link that Derek sent, and everything was on there, and it was just so user-friendly when I got on there. Can you repeat that one more time, Nadean, for us?
Absolutely. So it's https://link, linktr.ee/NJB1202. And it's Linktree/NJB1202.
Wow. Thank you so much, Nadean. Thank you for sharing that information so we can find you on the internet. And thank you so much again for all the time that you spent sharing with us your life, your entrepreneurship, and just your vision for life. It's been very inspiring. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. I'm very grateful for this opportunity. And I also want to thank my cousin, Tunein, a.k.a. Porcelain Ferris, my cousin, for putting me on. on to this podcast or to this show. I really appreciate it. And also my very dear friend, Siandra Dilly, who inspired me to start writing during my most traumatic moment in my life. And I really appreciate that.
Great.